say as advice for someone that was probably you 3 or 4 years ago that you wish somebody had told you as they're starting out their business? Any learnings that you've had?
So the one that comes to mind is a funny one. Just get like plan ahead for things like finance. Like it was, it's kind of funny, right? Like I didn't intend to start a company, so I started out on QuickBooks self-employed, and like 3 years in, we have this team and having to migrate and having to like go clean up a lot of the data and the naming conventions. And so it sounds very small, but for doing analysis and better understanding your business, like I wish that had been drilled into me. I would say a lot that's around like being organized from day one. I would often describe to my team, and you can probably see it in my strengths and just my personality, is that my brain can be pinball on multi-ball sometimes. That's entrepreneurial life. You're watching 100 things at once, but I think recognizing that the people that join your team later are not necessarily cut from that cloth. And so, you know, it took a conversation with someone who had worked for me in the past to come in, and he was like, we have to get our act together in terms of shared drives and like naming things the same way and putting things in places that new hires can find them. Because I think when you're in those early stages, you're just going frantically, just trying to scale and deliver. So I think it would have been that, just being a little bit more disciplined about organization in day one, whether it was in financial systems or putting in project management tools, things like that.
But that's probably very common. In getting as you're getting in those first couple of years, just getting by and getting using the systems you got, and then creating those systems to scale. It sounds like. So the other thing I hear a lot about from leaders and entrepreneurs is finding the right people. And you mentioned how important the people are on your team, and how you've been very intentional with the things you do, even when you open your meetings and have opportunities for people to give back to the community. What are some things you've learned or that you're doing in order to attract those kind of people and to build as you build and grow for them, so they can win as well as the company grows?
Yeah, I think for us, a lot of it starts with the interview, right? And we were really fortunate in the early days. A lot of it was referrals from people that we already knew. And so that brings some comfort. But as you scale, you're starting to hire people that you don't have a connection to. And so, I think it's about talking to the team and telling them they're responsible for being stewards of our culture. I still remember one night, and it was probably 4 years ago now, like a couple of colleagues sitting out back at my house, or I guess it was maybe 2 years ago, and saying like, how do we protect our culture going forward? Because I think that is the best thing about us is our culture and people. And told them like, it's you guys, right? And to me, and I'm stealing this from someone I used to work with, is you know culture is just how you treat each other at the end of the day. And I think that setting that expectation early up front, a lot of what attracts talent to us is the fact that we have this purpose. And I think that, as we've built a little bit more critical mass in our team, we have, I don't know, roughly 25 people. When candidates interview, they get that feeling from our team and realize like, hey, this is real. And one of the things that I'll do, so I meet every single person who's going to be part of our team. I'll actually pull up Slack and show them. We have this Slack channel called High Fives, and I'll show them how the team interacts with each other, giving each other praise and kudos and recognition, and how organic it is. Those are the types of things that attract people. I would say the other thing is just, we don't hire any junior folks. The average years of digital experience on our team is 13, which is pretty high. Most agencies, or a lot of agencies, will have a thinner layer of senior folks augmented by a lot of junior folks. And so I think one thing that attracts people is realizing that they're going to be surrounded by people that they can learn from. So we do look for learners, and, as they interview, they're realizing like, wait, I can learn something from this person. I'm not by myself as the one expert, or, one of two experts. And so I think that's what really sells people on the organization is that they're only working on a handful of accounts